Are we still missing our Honolulu crew? Yeah. They're gone? Okay. Yeah, I thought they were going to be back.
Seems like they should get their own.
I can see the car. Actually, it's
like they should have to do cleaning all by themselves next week.
all right. All right, I'm going to pray. I think they're actually going to stroll in a few minutes. Lord Jesus, thank you for this time that we get to dig into your word and do it as a group. Lord, I pray that you would help us to hear from you, that your spirit would guide the conversation. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So Rick's not feeling well, so I'm going to fill in. We're going to do kind of we're going to go back and pick up this part of Joshua that we passed over earlier.
5?
Chapter 5.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great. So we'll get to the end of chapter 5, and then we'll go to the end of chapter 10. And, well, if this takes a while, then I wanted to spend some more time writing in our journals for the tribes. So hopefully we got enough tribes here to do that. Okay.
My tribe is finished.
What's that?
My tribe is finished. Me and Maddie will go.
Your tribe is done. Okay, so I'll come up with something. I have an idea for you guys. All right, so we're Joshua chapter 5. This is verse 13 and 14. So just so you know, we just got through the part where they celebrated Passover. They ate milk and honey. I think our discussion was about how, eat the fat, have a steak, read the Bible. The joy of the Lord is your strength. You guys remember that? Okay, so Joshua, they've just celebrated Passover, and says, who wants to read 13, 14? Let's go, Keely.
Now when Joshua was near Jericho, he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. Joshua went up to him and asked, "Are you for us or for our enemies?" "Neither," he replied, "but as a commander of the army of the Lord, I have now come."
All right, what do you guys take from this? This is kind of interesting. Joshua's on the plains in front of Jericho. They got the whole Israelites. They've just crossed the Jordan River. They just celebrated Passover. And he says he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him. And then he finds out, but as commander of the army of the Lord, I have now come.
That'd be Michael?
Michael, yeah, the angel. We're going to find out that it's not Michael. Yeah, Blake?
Why was he standing with a drawn sword?
Good question.
That feels slightly aggressive.
Why did he walk up to him when he had a drawn sword?
Yeah.
And ask him?
The thing that I'm thinking is interesting is, sorry, what were you going to say, Keely?
I was just going to say, I think it's interesting that he says neither, but he's for the Lord, there for the Lord. So it just kind of, for me, says you're not rooting for one person over the other. You're just going to do whatever the Lord has, and that's what you're rooting for. It's not, I'm rooting for you, Joshua. I'm rooting for this person. I'm rooting for the Lord.
Yeah. I'm not on your side, Joshua. I'm not on your side. I'm on God's side. But this is the commander of the army of the Lord. And to Joshua, it is a man. It's a man, right? What Joshua sees is a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword. It's kind of interesting. Yeah.
That version says lowercase Lord, minus the first letter,
Mm-hmm.
which means master, but mine has all caps.
For here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Yahweh, right? Yeah, this is, as commander of the army of Yahweh, I have now come.
Why does yours not have that?
English translation.
I don't know. So this was the question that Keely answered. Why neither? You guys want to look up some scriptures?
Yes.
All right, who's got, someone grab Exodus 34. Blake? Who's got Deuteronomy 7? Colby? Deuteronomy 9? Nick? Or Seth? Sorry. And then go ahead. You can grab Deuteronomy, Maddie. All right. I want to let's do the page flipping technique, yeah? Where we all get out our Bibles and turn to the passage so we can read along and see it as it's actually there. All right. Who's got Exodus 34?
I do. And the Lord responded, "Look, I am making a covenant. In the presence of all your people, I will perform wonders that have never been done in the whole earth or in any nation. All the people you live among will see the Lord's work, for what I am doing with you is awe-inspiring. Observe what I command you today. I'm going to drive out before you the Amorites, Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Be careful not to make a treaty with the inhabitants of the land that you are going to enter. Otherwise, there will become a snare among you. Instead, you must tear down their altars, smash their sacred pillars, and chop down their Asherah poles. Because the Lord is jealous for his reputation, and you will never bow down to another God. He is a jealous God."
All right. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, sounds like a story we just covered. When they made
What's
a
that?
covenant with somebody
Uh,
and then had to protect them.
Sorry, what?
This is talking about not making covenants with all these Hittites,
Yeah.
which is exactly what they do.
Yeah, it's exactly. You guys remember the story of the welcome, don't be afraid, come on in. The water's just great. Well, sometimes, you come into a class and you're like, dang it, man, everyone's looking at me. Come on in. Okay, so,
I'm drawing swords.
yeah, well, I blanked the Gibeonites, right? They made a treaty with the Gibeonites in opposition to Exodus 34, 10 through 14. What else do you guys pull out of this, what we just read, Exodus 34, 10 through 14? Do you guys grab that jealous God part? Break down their altars, destroy their idols, have nothing to do with the pagan gods of the land, destroy the altars because God is a jealous God. He doesn't want you in the arms of any of these other gods. Okay. You're in a covenant relationship with God, not anyone else. Who's got Deuteronomy? Let's turn to Deuteronomy 7. All right, we got quite a few verses here. Everybody turn there. Deuteronomy 7.
When the Lord your God brings you into that land that you are entering to take possession of it, and clears away many nations before you, the Hittites, the Gerasites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, 7 nations, more numerous and mightier than you. And when the Lord your God gives them over to you, and you defeat them, and then you must devote them to complete destruction. You shall make no covenant with them, and show no mercy to them. You shall not intermarry to them, giving your daughters to their sons, or taking their daughters for your sons. For they would turn away your sons from following me to serve other gods. Then the anger of the Lord would be kindled against you, and he would destroy you quickly. But thus shall you deal with them. You shall break down their altars and dash in pieces their pillars, and chop down their Asherahs, and burn their carved images with fire.
Okay, just pause for a second. Did you guys catch that part in verse 4 where it says, so the anger of the Lord will be aroused against you to destroy you suddenly, right? So he's saying, if you get entangled into this false god, pagan worship, idol worship, the Lord's anger is going to start, being aroused against you, okay? So, 6 and 7.
For you are the people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for his treasured possession. Out of all the people who are on the face
for you are the fewest of all the people. So he's saying it's not because you're great and mighty. It's not because you're more numerous. It's not because you're stronger. Actually, in verse 8, it says, but because the Lord loves you and because he wanted to keep the oath that he swore to your fathers, that he is doing all these things. Okay? So why am I putting these verses here in this conversation about the army of the commander of the army of the Lord says neither to Joshua? Why do you think these, I want us to consider these passages in this conversation.
We're both talking about destroying the Israelites if they do something wrong, like if they disobey the commands that they've been given.
Sorry, say that one more time.
If they disobey in these passages,
Mhm.
God's going to punish them.
Yeah. If they go and follow idols as well, the same things that is going to happen to the Canaanites, Perizzites, all these things, God's anger will come against them. Deuteronomy 9, 3 through 5. Who's got that one?
Oh, was that me? That was me.
Cool. You just got to turn the page to chapter 9.
Understand that today the Lord your God will cross over ahead of you as a consuming fire. He will devastate and subdue them before you. You will drive them out and destroy them swiftly, as the Lord has told you. When the Lord your God drives them out before you, do not say to yourself, the Lord brought me in to take possession of this land because of my righteousness. Instead, the Lord will drive out these nations before you because of their wickedness. You are not going to take possession of their land because of your righteousness or your integrity. Instead, the Lord your God will drive these nations out before you because of their wickedness, in order to fulfill the promise he swore to your ancestor Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
You guys catch that one? Right, so in the previous one, he says, you're not a special people because you're more numerous, but God loves you. It's kind of almost God is just saying, like, I chose you, I made you holy, I love you. But at the same time, I can't just look aside when this kind of wickedness is happening, right? And so don't do these things. And in this one, he's saying, it's not because you're more righteous that I'm bringing you into the land, but the nations that you're going in to possess are very wicked. And Deuteronomy 18:12, who's got that one? Maddie. Where's the pages? Turn.
Says, "I'm that way is detestable to the Lord. Because of these same detestable practices, the Lord your God will drive out those nations before you."
Okay, so Deuteronomy 18 is all about the sins of the Canaanites, Perizzites, all the other nations. And he's saying, it is because of those things that God is going to drive them out. So I wanted to read all of those because I want you guys to get that this is like a repeated thing. God is saying it over and over, right? It's just a constant thing that he is saying. Somebody grab Isaiah 42:8. Someone grab that? Caitlin? Who can do Isaiah 59? All right, Colby. Pages.
I am the Lord, that is my name. I will not yield my glory to another, or my praise to others.
You guys, how does this one apply to the neither?
What about me?
It's all about God. This whole thing, the Israelites going into the promised land, God is saying, my name has to be glorified. I'm not sharing my glory with the Israelites. We just read in Joshua chapter 10, God stops the sun. He uses hailstones. God is the one who gets the job done. At the Battle of Jericho, he's the one who makes the walls fall down. He's the one who parts the Jordan River. Why is God glorifying his name in this whole book? Something good. A lot of people think about the Christian God and they say, he demands worship. He demands himself to be glorified. Why? I could never serve a God that's What'd you say? It's all about me? It's all about me. How do you guys think about that? Is that a struggle for you in thinking about God? Yeah.
I think it's a struggle in the way of like it's all about him, but it can't be all about me myself. That's the only way I struggle with it, not like with the thing about him. It's like I get in the way of thinking about him.
It's a struggle for you because are you saying that in a way that like you know it's
I know it's supposed to be about him, but I
Mhm.
want it to be about me.
yeah. Yeah. Why is it good that it's about him and not about you?
Because I would probably, I take the attention and I turn it to not for like the glory of good. Whereas if the attention is on God, it always works for good. He's not going to take that and turn it into something evil.
Because he's good. Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, Nick?
Just to add to what Gilly was saying, it's like when man's glorified, we get prideful and arrogant super quickly when we're put anywhere above anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And pride's kind of like this spiritual cancer that separates us from God super easily.
Yeah.
So I think in a way, him glorifying himself keeps us closer to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone else on this one? You know, why is it good that God is going to do everything for his glory? I mean, when you are out there witnessing in the coming years and someone comes up to you and says, Caleb, how can you serve a God that just wants you to like praise and worship him all the time? It's all about him. I need my self-esteem built up. What are you going to say, Caleb?
We're not really worthy to be
Get him.
be in that high self-esteem because we're the ones that dig ourselves like our own holes or a pit.
Hmm.
And so we dig our own holes, and so we're always like collapsing, stumbling.
Mhm.
That's why we need a God. We need someone to actually look to and actually follow.
Mm.
If
Yeah.
someone's thinking this thought, they're not thinking about the gospel. So whether they don't know it or they forgot about it,
Mm-hmm.
but the gospel is always going to bring you back to who you really are and who God really is, and who's should
Well, let me get Colby. He's got his hand raised, and then I'll get your answer. Yeah.
I would just say it's better that God is the center of it because he therefore puts that love back out, and he actually loved us first, and that's why we're not giving God our love, we're returning his love that he gave to us.
Say that one more time. I don't know if I got it all the way, but
Yeah. It's good that God's in the center because he returned, like, he loves us and he loved us first. So if we think about it as, oh, we have to love God, but if we just think about it in the context of we're actually just returning God's love because he loved us first.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
that's good.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about what you were saying earlier? So God loved us first. The love that we give is really just the love that he's already given to us. So we're basically just living in the truth. When we glorify God, we're saying, hey, breath that I have, the matter and water that's making my blood pump through my veins, it's all yours anyway. So it's walking in the truth, and it's a beautiful thing. I like that answer. How about you, Lexi?
I already said it. I just that.
Oh, I was kind of
Oh.
distracted because I was like, I think I should grab Colby because he's got his hand raised, but yeah.
Just that if you're asking that question, then like
Mhm.
kind of he brought out that perspective. 'Cause
Mhm.
you're not thinking about the gospel or you don't know the gospel.
Mhm.
Because if you have that in mind, then you know your place and God's place, and you won't want to take a step out of your place.
Right. Right. One of the things that I use or I think about or sometimes helps me think about this is that this word glory used here, I 42, 8. I'm the Lord, and my glory I will not give to another. The word glory means weight, right? So if you really want to be tired in life, start walking around with a lot of weight on your shoulders. Start carrying the weight of, I want praise or I want glory. Think about it as I'm really adding weights to my life. I'm to get glory, to want glory. Sometimes I'll feel very discouraged or something, and I think, the reason is because I'm trying to get glory, and I'm trying to take on all this extra weight. I'm trying to take on all this extra pressure, trying to be perfect. I'm trying to, God's the only one who can really do this. I can't do it. Yeah.
Is that
Kate?
I was just gonna say almost exactly something you said, because
Mm.
I feel like when I'm trying to get people to look at me or give me more attention, I feel like I have this pressure to be perfect and not mess up so that people don't see me mess up.
Mm.
But the truth is I'm always gonna mess up, and I think the reason it's such a big weight is because of that. And when you humble yourself before the Lord and let Him lift you up, I think it's almost like cause and effect, where it's just when I humble myself before the Lord, everyone stops looking at me and starts looking at Him,
Yeah.
and He's perfect, and almost with His grace, kind of almost glosses over my mistakes,
Mhm.
and people don't notice my mistakes as much when I'm walking with the Lord, because all they see is perfection through Him. If
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I've experienced it.
Mhm.
I looked up glory in one of the verses, and it says heavy a lot, but it also says to make dull and unresponsive or insensible. Just kind of says the same thing over and over again. It's kind of weird. And
The dull one I've never heard, so I don't really know.
It just says they're the different letters.
Mm.
I'm not sure. A, B, C, D.
Did someone raise their hand over here? No? Okay. Let's turn the page to Isaiah 59.
Few more than one page.
What's that? Yeah, it's a couple pages. Yeah, a couple pages. This is a really great chapter. If you ever want to just read a great chapter in the Bible, I highly recommend it. Yeah, Trent? Oh, 59, sorry. 59. But I pulled out just verses 15 through 17. But whoever's reading it, can you start at 14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justice is turned back, and righteousness stands far away. For truth has stumbled in the public squares, and uprightness cannot enter.
Stop. Does that sound familiar? For truth has fallen in the streets. Justice is turned back, righteousness stands afar off, and truth has fallen in the streets. And my translation says equity cannot enter. Anyway, I just felt like that was 2023. Okay, go ahead, Colby.
Truth is lacking, and he who departs from evil makes himself a prey. The Lord saw it, and it displeased him, that there was no justice. He saw that there was no man, and no wonder that there was no one to intercede. Then his own arm brought him salvation, and his uprightness upheld him. He put on righteousness as a breastplate and a helmet of salvation on his head. He put on garments of vengeance for clothing and wrapped himself in zeal as a cloak.
Awesome. Okay, just pause there for a second. We'll do 20. Well, read 20 as well.
And the Redeemer will come to Zion, to those in Jacob who turn from transgressions, declares the Lord.
Okay, did you guys see that in your Bible? Did you see? Verse 17. He put on righteousness as a breastplate and a helmet of salvation on his head. He put on garments of vengeance for clothing and was clad with zeal as a cloak. Who does this sound like? Sounds like Jesus, right? How does this sound like Jesus? No, think about the life of Jesus. Like, what was Jesus walking around doing? So the chapter says justice was turned back. There was no truth. There was no justice. There was no justice in the world. There was no truth being spoken. People were suffering. What is justice? Justice is mean people who, should get $50 for their paycheck, they were getting 30, right? People who shouldn't be in jail were being put in jail, right? The truth about who God is, that he loves people, it was gone, right? It wasn't anywhere to be found. The Samaritans were cast out, right? All kinds of injustice is happening. Jesus comes and he brings justice. I like this part because he's a warrior. Jesus is coming as a warrior. He's got his shield, he's got his breastplate, he's got his helmet. He's coming to do righteousness. And how does he do it? Being a servant, yeah, dying on the cross. Yeah, Nick.
Spreading truth and destroying the works of the devil.
Yeah. But I also like to think of Jesus as like, you guys read those passages in the Gospels where Jesus shows up in church and like people just start shrieking. Like he's in the synagogue teaching on the Sabbath, and then someone shrieks. They have an evil spirit. "We know you are the Son of God." Or like when he approaches the demoniac and the demons are like, "What are you going to do with us now?" And literally, just the presence of Jesus, demons cannot hang out. They are being cast out just by him being there, right? He comes with prayer and submission to his Father to glorify God, to speak the words of the Father. And there is battle happening in the spiritual realm where he's got his sword, he's got his breastplate, and he's setting people free. I just think it's a cool image of Jesus. So, who is the commander in this Joshua passage? Jesus. It's always Jesus. Do you guys want to see some passages with Jesus and a sword?
We're not going to read the bottom two.
I skipped those. Do you guys want to do those? Matthew 5, 3 through 6. Who wants to do that? All right, Sam. Who can grab Psalm 51? Let's get Zach in on the game. Man, we're just flying through time. Who's got Matthew?
All right.
Pages, everybody in Matthew, see it.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be
Comforted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled.
All right. What does this have to do with neither? Yeah.
If we're talking about in the context of Israelites versus
Mm-hmm.
the other ethnicities,
Mm-hmm.
God is friends with those who repent and those who seek Him.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Israelites aren't seeking God and neither are the other people, they're the same.
Mm-hmm.
So if we don't, seek the Spirit, bless those who mourn, if we're not humble, if we don't hunger and thirst for righteousness, we're not a friend of God. If the Israelites aren't hungry and thirsty for God, they're no friends of God.
If they're not hungry, so it's whoever is these characteristics are the ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if the Israelites aren't doing that, they're not friends of God. And
Yeah.
neither are the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Anybody else? So, yeah, I think you're right. Like this is the description of what it is to be in the kingdom of God. The reason why I put this up here is because to me this is the description of somebody who's lost all desire to glorify themselves. Right? The person who's poor in spirit is like, okay, I'm at the end. Right? This can't be about me. I don't have riches of spirit to donate to this cause. Blessed are those who mourn. I've lost things. Right? I'm grieving. I'm the person who's lost things, or I've been rejected, or I've been let down by this world. Right? Those are the people who are looking for an outside salvation, for a glory, for someone else to take the glory, for someone else to be the hero. Blessed are the meek. The meek are the ones who are not, kind of trying to be center of attention or always get their way. They're submissive, right? The meek are ready to be like, okay, God, what do you want to tell me? That's what I want to do, right? Psalm 51, 12 through 13. Zach.
Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and uphold me with the willing spirit. And I will teach transgressors your way, and sinners will return to you.
Read the first part of the first verse again.
Restore to me the joy of your salvation.
Restore to me the joy of your salvation. Restore to me the joy of the idea that I don't save myself, right? That I don't have to be the one to make this happen. Restore to me the joy that you died on the cross and paid every debt, that you justified me, that you glorified me, and it wasn't anything that I did. Because that is the best news we can get. And then what does he say after that, Zach?
And uphold me with the willing spirit.
Uphold me with a willing spirit. Give me your spirit to be the faithful person. I'm not faithful on my own. Give me the spirit that makes me faithful. What's the next part?
Then I will teach transgressors your way.
I am not fit to be the teacher. But after you save me and give me the spirit, then transgressors, people will be helped. I can't help anybody, but if you help me, other people will be helped. All right. What do you guys think about that? Yeah? All right, let's go. Who can grab Matthew 10, 34 through 39? Lexi, I saw her hand. You want to do Revelation, Sam? All right, Keely.
Sounds so good.
Genesis. Genesis might be, I chose the Jesus ones first, but Genesis is a good one too. You want to grab Numbers? 22. Go for Psalm, Seth. Okay, we'll stop there for now. Who's got Matthew? Lexi.
Do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies will be those of his own household. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take his cross and follow after He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it.
All right. So, what is Jesus bringing a sword to do here?
It's like he's bringing division because before there was no gospel, and now there is, and some are going to believe, and some are not going to believe, even with their own families or friends groups or whatever, and so that's going to pit people against each other because they're two different things.
Yeah. What do you think, Nick?
I just want to point out he was fulfilling prophecy in Malachi chapter 4, the last verses of the Old Testament.
Yeah.
It says he will turn the hearts of the parents to their children and the hearts of the children to their parents. Or it says, do this, or I will come and strike the land with total destruction.
I will come and what?
Strike the land with total destruction.
Interesting. So
Sounds
now
like he's being almost like a weird, I don't know how to describe my
I think that
do you mean Micah? Micah 7:6?
no, let's talk about Malachi.
Really?
I think this is still talking about Jesus wanting to be the priority, right? If you love your father or mother more than me, it's not worthy of me. Who loves a son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So, and I do think that this is more spoken to people who are having to say no to family who maybe do not believe than people who, have parents who are Christians and they just want to go against their parents. I don't think that's what it's talking about. But yeah, who's got Revelation 19?
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
I'm confused. Why did Jesus say he did not come to bring peace to the world? I thought he was
It's a good question.
the Prince of Peace.
He brings peace to individuals, he doesn't bring peace to the world.
But, what?
There's no peace on earth until we have a new heaven and new earth.
Peace on earth, goodwill to men on whom his favor rests. It's a good question.
And what about that Christmas song, Mark Miller said, peace on earth and mercy among sinners reconciled.
Yeah. Let's read Revelation. Maybe we'll get the answer.
Alright, the armies of heaven were following him, riding on white horses and dressed in fine linen, white and clean. Coming out of his mouth is a sharp sword with which to strike down the nations. He will rule them with an iron scepter. He treads the winepress of the fury of the wrath of God Almighty. On his robes and on his thigh he has this name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
All right. So, here in this passage, Jesus has a sword and he's going to use to strike the nations. He is treading the winepress of the wrath of God. So, this is like apocalyptic Jesus, right, at the end of all time. And it's speaking to his authority and his right to be the one to judge, right? We're not looking at these verses right here, but there's another verse in Deuteronomy where it says, "It is mine to avenge, I will repay." So God is the one, ultimately, Jesus is the one who has the right to bring judgment. No human being. Yeah.
So it says a sharp sword, like coming out of his mouth is a sharp sword.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, or like which he will use to strike down the nations? Do you think that's like, in the sense like a literal sword, like he's gonna come down and like there's gonna be a huge battle, or do you think it's like his words because it says the tongue is a double-edged sword?
I think it could be talking about his word. At the very bottom, you see Ephesians 6:17. This passage talks about the sword being the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. So I do believe that this is probably talking about, could also be talking about the sword being his word. Yeah. Who's got Genesis chapter 3?
He drove out the man, and at the east of the Garden of Eden, he placed the cherubim and the flaming sword that turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life.
Okay, so this is the first time we see the sword. I want to turn there. So this is when the first time we see the sword used as a way of bringing judgment. So Adam and Eve have just sinned, and this is the imagery that's used. He's gonna guard the way back to the tree of life using a sword. And so, Numbers 22. Who's got Numbers 22?
That's me.
Colby. Oh, wait up. I don't want you to read the whole chapter.
Yeah,
You're confused. Okay, so Numbers 22 is when Balaam is on his way to prophesy against the people of Israel. His donkey is blocking his way back and forth, and it says that there is an angel with a drawn sword blocking his path, right? And that's where Balaam starts beating the donkey starts talking to him, and he says, if the donkey had not stopped you, I would have struck you down. So what I want you guys to basically see in all these passages is that Jesus is the one who carries this sword. And, in the New Testament, we are not taught that we are ones to go out and pick up swords and fight battles. But the sword is something that, it is God's word. I'm trying to wrap it up here because we're almost running out of time. But it is God's word, and he is the one who ultimately will be the decider of how it gets used in terms of, eternity and judgment. This is how the chapter 5 ends. Joshua fell face down to the ground in reverence and asked him, "What message does my Lord have for his servant?" The commander of the Lord's army replied, "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy." And Joshua did so. And the reason why I said earlier that many commentators believe this is Jesus is because Joshua gets down on his face in reverence, and the commander doesn't say, "Hey, I'm just an angel, I'm just a messenger like you." He doesn't say, "Don't worry, don't be afraid, you shouldn't be that reverent." He says, "Take off your sandals, because this is holy ground." Exactly what the Lord said to Moses out of the burning bush. Yeah.
I'm just saying, he didn't say you don't be afraid.
Oh, yeah, he does say,
The angel?
yeah, he says,
Did he?
did he say, "Do not be afraid"? No, he doesn't say that. He just says, "Take off your sandals." Yeah. All right, you guys. Yeah. Don't try to take the glory for yourself. God's the one. God's the one who has the sword. Jesus is the one who has the sword. We'll wrap it up. Father, thank you for this time that we got to dig into your word. I pray that you would be with the students as we're going north tomorrow. I pray that you would just empower them, Lord, to speak your words, to worship in spirit and in truth. And Lord, I just thank you that we got this opportunity, and pray that you'd bless them as they go. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for taking over.